Bonjour, Sami, your French tutor in London and online. Here are my 9 reasons why the way French is being taught is ineffective. Number 1, outdated system of situations. I was checking this Boozoo app and it goes, where's the nearest bank? We all have online banking and we all have smartphones. What's the point of learning où est la banque la plus proche if you're actually never going to say that in real life? It's wasting your time, it's wasting your energy, your mental space, literally, because you probably will forget because you will probably never use that in real life. Number 2, they use outdated structures. Est-ce clair? That's what I saw in the Boozoo app. Making yourself understood goes, est-ce clair? I've never heard that. It's correct, obviously, but nobody uses this subject-verb inversion. I would just say, c'est clair? Number 3, they consider everything to be important. If you focus on like, is it voici, voilà, what should I say ici or là? Your teacher is supposed to tell you, well, you know what, don't worry about that. Like, pick your worries, yeah, pick your battles. You can't worry about everything. Teachers think everything is important because they've learned it at school. And I'm guilty of this sometimes also. I would just suggest a 80-20 principle, Pareto's principle, that you shouldn't work so hard, you should work smarter. Number 4, take into account adults' lives. Adults' lives are busy. Yeah, they work 50, 60 hours a week in big companies, in demanding jobs that make them exhausted. So you want to make sure the content you give them is adapted to their busy schedule and not their mental fatigue. Number 5, they insist on written French. I never lie to my students about that. Written French is difficult, but spoken French is not as difficult. Now, if you don't need that, just don't bother, really. As long as you can read and understand, it doesn't impair your reading skills, then you're good to go, and mostly you just want to speak. What is it? 6 is focusing on mistakes. The French school system is built this way. Fear of failure is deep-rooted in the French school system. Teachers are no exception. They've been raised like that. I've been raised like that also. The teaching of French is derived from that. It prompts this approach of, well, you shouldn't be making mistakes, which is, I think, not the right way. You should encourage your students, not interrupt them. For example, you should let them speak, develop their confidence, and then politely you can go, well, I think there are a few things that might be wrong. Let's check that together. 7, they sustain the myth that French is hard. It's a myth. Every language is difficult, not just French. German is hard, Italian is hard, Spanish is hard, English is hard, English is easier. No, it's not easier. It's difficult. There are sounds that do not exist in most languages. The difference is that most people have had exposure to English since they were young, through movies or at least songs. English is a necessity rather than an option, whereas French is probably more on the leisure side, or kind of like, yeah, just like the language, except for bilingual families or living with a French partner, meeting French in-laws, wanting to move to France, wanting to live in French-speaking countries, in Brussels, Geneva. Now, that's a very different situation, but mostly motivation is key and exposure. Number 8, they use outdated vocab. So let me share with you what I just saw on Reddit, a forum where they share their worries about learning French. They use un chandail to say a t-shirt, and this word nobody uses. We just say un t-shirt. There are plenty of English words that have switched into French, so why refrain from using them? Number 9, they don't focus on the translations from English to French. If you're an English native speaker or someone whose English is second language, you probably will learn French from a position of you mastering English. What you're gonna do, because that's how your brain works. You're gonna switch from one language to another. When you're a child, you don't do this. You can just be bilingual. But when you're an adult, you use what you know. The problem is English and French are very different. English is usually more flexible. French is usually more rigid and strict. I'm excited. How do you say I'm excited? How do you say this week's quite busy? How do you say I know what I want? Those are very simple sentences. You find yourself struggling to say I'm excited and you go je suis excité. Like, there needs to be a switch from English to French that makes it easier for you not to lose confidence with those struggles. This week's quite busy. Cette semaine est assez chargée, not occupée. I know what I want. Je sais ce que je veux. 9 problems I just identified. Share your thoughts. Tell me what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know what you think. À bientôt.